place I've managed to get to parking at. It's so busy here, but I've put 24 hours on so that I can just park all day. But look at this beautiful view, and the tide is still slightly in, and over there in that direction it looks like there's somewhere that I could fish. I see people fishing right now, so let's give it a go. We have found this nice little part at this little flat area at the edge of the coast, and I walked all the way around from the car park and then came along the other edge, and with here, with my rod set up, apparently someone did catch 1 or 2 mackerel from around here, so fingers crossed this is going to be a very lucrative spot and I will get some dinner. So let's go ahead and see what we can get. I prefer using a single spinner than the four hooks for the mackerel. I don't know why, I just kind of prefer it, and I've had more luck with this than I have with the 4 hooks, but we'll see. Maybe I'll try that later, but for now I'm just going to try and catch something on here, because I don't need a whole load of them. I want only enough to have for dinner, so, or lunch. So we'll see what we can do just by being out here. It's a really nice day, so it's just somewhere I can chill and relax, and I've got my packed lunch of pemmican and my pendulous sedge acorn hazelnut cookies. I haven't been fishing as much as I would have liked to in previous travels, so I'm going to make the most of it during this wild biome project whenever we have a nice day. This is a perfect ledge. Just got to watch I don't get sunburnt though, so hopefully this hat will protect the back of my neck. Some good rocks around here though, really nice rocks, so on low tide there might be something decent to forage. The only problem is where I'm going to park up tonight, because that car park, even though you can park for 24 hours, I don't think that I can get away with parking there. Now the other option is to find somewhere where I can buy a tent and a sleeping bag, and when there's issues like that I can just leave the car parked and take the tent somewhere and go and hide. Or just a bivvy, to be honest. A bivvy bag would do the job, and a piece of tarp. I've just got to watch myself here though, because I'm a clumsy person and I've fallen into the lake just by standing at the edge, just randomly, I don't know how. So I'm a little bit cautious standing on the edge of here, but I think we'll be okay. I've just got to watch my footing. It is a dangerous place right here. I've just put my mackerel rig onto the line. I haven't used one of these in a very long time. They're very long, as you can see. So let's give it a go and see if we catch anything. Just trying to get it somewhere where... Now this is the one I have to do this with. This is the ones that I always tend to lose because they get caught on rocks and things, but this ocean seems like a good one to cast out into. Unfortunately, I didn't catch anything other than stray bits of seaweed. This rig that I also had, it just suddenly decided to lose all of its flashy things, so I was throwing it out and not realising this, so that became very unproductive, so I put a spinner back on, but unfortunately I have not caught anything. So I think I've been out here for a while, and I think it's going to be a journey into Port Isaac and see if I can find any fishing shops, because the thing with Port Isaac is that not only is it where Doc Martin was filmed, if you remember that, it's also an amazing place where it has a working harbour, so there'll be some local fish to eat there. So it's still following the wild food diet, and I'll be supporting a local industry. So I think I'm going to make my way in there instead and find myself something to eat. And maybe I'll come back here in the evening, and I might have a bit more luck when the tide's coming in, because at the moment it's a waning tide and that's the worst time to fish. So I wasn't very successful fishing today. Maybe it was just the wrong time of the day. The tide was starting to go out, and midday, so I think I'll come back later to do that. But what I found out when I came walking down this path towards the beach is that this little part is really well sheltered, and there's loads and loads of things to forage in here. Now what I really love at this time of year is when the common hogweed has gone to flower, these parts here with the little leaf sheaths, if I can pull that off and show you, this part here is absolutely delicious. You can fry that up in a pan and it crisps up really nicely, so I'm going to gather some of those to add to the nettles that I gathered earlier this morning, and I've still got some wild garlic in the car. But there's also a bunch of scurvy grass hiding in here too, so there's loads of things I can add to my meal. And we've also got a bunch of oxeye daisies that are taking over the bank amongst a few other things. I've even found some common sorrel growing in here too, so that's a really nice find. So we made it to the place where Doc Martin was filmed. I was having a look at that bit just over there, seeing if I could get over there to try and fish, but the rocks look a little bit too precarious to try and climb down onto, so we're just going to head round into the bay and see if I can find some local fish for lunch. Oh gosh, now that's hard, because I do love fish and chips, and that's local haddock, so I'll only eat it if you can get UK bought fish. So yeah, I'm going to have to miss out on that, because it's made with all the vegetable fats and refined flour, which I don't miss at all. So let's try and find some fresh local fish. So this is the part I usually try to avoid, is when it's very touristy, but hopefully what I'm looking for is just around the corner. Now this is what I'm looking for. And let's go and see if there's anything available. I ended up with a little bit of crab meat. Fortunately, the place that does the fresh fish closes at 1, so I only just missed it, so I'll have to try again. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe after the weekend has passed. So so unfortunately I missed out on the fish, but I have got some crab meat, and I can always head back to the van and cook up the greens that I had harvested earlier, which I may do. I might leave the harbour and come back a little later in the evening when it's time to fish. But wow, look at this beautiful sunset. I've just come back to the same ridge that I was on earlier, and you can see the tide is just starting to come in again, so I'm going to see how I do and see what I can catch. Hopefully I'll get my dinner this time. I'm all set up and ready to go, so let's see if I have any luck. Sorry?
Is that a wedge?
Is that what you call it?
Yeah. When it hits water, 10 to 10, then start winding.
I'm joined by a couple of other fishermen, which is kind of cool. They're fishing just nearby. They're using bait, so I'm trying to use my spinner. Or whatever you call it. A wedge, they said it was called. It's really beautiful just being down here, and like in the evening it's just so peaceful. I get why it's a hobby for a lot of people, and I'd do it more. I mean, I live inland, and you need a rod license and a different kind of rig and line and everything, so I haven't quite got one of those set up. But maybe I'll start doing that. I've got a lake at home and got fish in there. And it'll be interesting to see if the carp are still there. There used to be some good sized carp in the lake that haven't been touched for goodness knows how many years. But you're just watching the sunset and fishing. It's just, it doesn't get better. It doesn't get any better than this. Just look at that sunset, it's absolutely beautiful. Now I've just been throwing the wedge out a few times and haven't caught anything yet, but the chaps up top, it's an amazing story. One of them's 75, he's lived here for all his life, knows everything around here, and then his friend who comes up to come and see him and fish along this shoreline. And it's just amazing to be able to live out here for your whole life. And whilst it's beautiful where I do live, as you've seen in previous videos, there's just something about being around the unpolluted coast that calls to you. And maybe that's just something from our hunter-gatherer days, like built into our genes, perhaps. And we're built to be nomadic, to come to the coast, to come inland whenever things are in season there. But not being too far away from the coast, I feel, is essential to reap the full bounty of what is available out in nature. Wow, so what do we have here? What was the name of it?
Three-bearded rocklin.
Rocklin, that's the first I've heard of it. Yeah. And you said it's really good eating, you just got to grill it and...
Yeah.
Amazing. So I didn't catch this, it was this chap just here, and he's been telling me a lot of good tips for fishing, and he just brought this one straight out the water with a bit of bait. Amazing. So I'm just going to finish up fishing now. It's going to be a bit dark, so I'm going to take this, I've forgotten the name of it already.
Three-bearded rocklin.
Three-bearded rocklin. I'm going to take that back to the camper. But what I love about this is just the fishing community is just so friendly wherever I've been along the coast, and
only in Cornwall.
Only in Cornwall. but no, I've had many generous people over the years that I've been fishing, and this has just kind of fed me for the evening. And it's a fish that I've never tried before, so I'm looking forward to that. I've just put the the fish into some foil and put it in this pan. It's the only way that I can cook it. I'm just using it as a griddle. I'm going to grill it and see how long this takes. A big thank you to John and Johnny, who were the fishermen who caught this earlier today. If it wasn't for them, I would just be eating my nettles and stir-fried greens again, which in themselves is quite delicious, but it's nice to have some fish finally. It's such a beautiful evening here on this port, and yeah, it's just time to relax and make some supper. Here it is, cooked and ready to eat. Sprinkled a little bit of salt on top, but look at that white flesh. It looks absolutely delicious. Now this is a very late meal. It's about 11 p.m. now, but this is the three-bearded rockling. I had never heard of one until today, and it's the first time I'm trying it, so let's see what it's like. That's an interesting flavour actually. It's almost haddock, but there's a slightly different earthy kind of taste to it. Maybe that's just how I ended up cooking it, but wow, that's actually really good. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to finish this and then I'm going to go and find a place to park up for the night. But thank you so much, John and Johnny, for this amazing meal. It's kept me fed on the wild biome project for today, and I am going to savour it. Bye for now.